So I was not prepared for that, at all. But with that said, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly Fruits Basket, the final discussion videos. Today we're here to talk all about episode 11, Goodbye, because that title makes me want to tear my own heart out. But with that said, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of AnyTube know that you're here. And we are going to go ahead and jump right into this thing. Forgive me if I'm a bit scatterbrained. I'm still kind of emotional. Why are you emotional, JoJo? Well, allow me to tell you, everybody, I am emotional because Ritsu is alive! Okay, I'm recording this live with the Twitch viewers, so if you're confused as to why I'm screaming Ritsu's alive, it's because we all freaked out when we saw Ritsu, and I'm sure some of you guys might have thought the same thing. Because Ritsu showing up was kind of hilarious, because we haven't seen him in forever. It's like the show was just like, look, we know that JoJo is the year of the monkey, so he probably has been wondering where Ritsu is, and I always complain that everybody else gets these cool characters to represent their zodiac, and I get Ritsu, who is fun, and I love him. Gomen nasai, Ritsu. But it's Ritsu, he's never around. So the fact that we see him even for a second, even though he's sad, the fact that we see him even for a second made me very, very happy. And as was pointed out in the chat, we don't only get to see him here during the goodbye section, but we also see him as the PV, as like the end card for, I shouldn't say PV, but as the end card for next week's episode title. It's Ritsu again in his zodiac form, so we see him as the monkey, and that made me really happy. I don't really have a lot to add to that. I just thought that was really funny. It's like the show knew that I was going to be really emotional, and they threw me a bone, and they put Ritsu in there, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that TMS and or Takia or whoever is in charge of putting Ritsu in there. I don't have my notebook full of names. I should have grabbed that before I started recording. Again, I'm a bit scatterbrained because a lot happened. A hell of a lot happened, and I'm hell of emotional. I don't even really know where to start. I have my notes, as usual, but forgive me if I'm kind of all over the map on this one. I'm still kind of emotional. I am recording this immediately after seeing the episode. So, let's go ahead and start with, I think, the biggest thing for me, I don't know about you guys, but for my shipping heart, it's the fact that Kyoru is real. Kyoru is actually genuinely real, and my heart grew 3 sizes this day. I was over the freaking moon when I saw that this happened. I was so, every episode of Fruits Basket leaves me very, emotionally drained, but this made me, so happy. So happy. I will admit, it starts off really funny, where we pick up basically where last week left off, where, Toru just books it, and Kyo has to, run after her, because he's like, you shouldn't be running right after you leave the hospital. But somehow this man is so fast. He gets in front of Toru without her noticing, and, cuts her off. And when he does that, Toru, basically just sort of, stares at him. They have this moment, and then she books it in the other direction. And Kyo's like, damn, you're really hurting me right now. And it's true. It's probably broke his heart to see her, run away. And what I love is when that happens, there's this mom and her kid, and they walk by, and the mom's like, ooh, he just got dumped. And the kid's like, yeah, he definitely just got dumped. And I was like, oh, my poor boy. That's the thing with Fruits Basket, right? I have a friend who is a genuine, who's a content creator, and I love them. But they don't like this particular version of Fruits Basket because they liked it better when Fruits Basket was a comedy, was a rom-com back in the original Fruits Basket, which is shocking to me because it's not like this version of Fruits Basket isn't funny, because it is, right? Scenes like this, these well-needed moments of levity where these two passerbys just think that Kyo got dumped, and it's funny. But it's always punctuated by a moment of like drama. And I feel like while I haven't seen the original 2001 Fruits Basket, maybe we'll do a watch along at the end of this season. Maybe I can invite the other Fruits Basket content creators and we could all watch it together. That might be fun. But it's funny to think about how some folks might prefer the comedy in that, whereas like I feel like Fruits Basket has comedy. It is funny. but it has the drama necessary to actually give us proper characters. I'm not a big comedy guy myself. Like, I don't really like straight comedies, but I love shows that add comedy into the mix and have it woven in really well, and Fruits Basket is one of those examples, like the he got dumped thing being just a perfect example of that. But the reason why it is so funny is because the tension of, is Kyo going to confess, is always in the air. You just get the joke as a moment of levity, because you need to break the tension a little bit. And when Kyo does finally catch up, it is heavy and it is emotional, and we get him just admitting that he was a bit selfish, that he knows that he was, putting his own feelings above what Toru wanted. And I think that was incredibly mature. Like, during the reaction that we did, I did say, like when he's like, I was selfish, I was like, yes, Kyo, yes, you were. And in fairness, it's like he was being selfish, but it's not like I'm upset with him about it. Like, it was one of those things like, yes, Kyo, I love you, but damn. Because he was being selfish. Like, the whole, like, I'm so disappointed in you, and stuff like that. It's like, you hurt her so bad. You hurt her so bad. And it's uncool to not acknowledge that, I think. I feel like a lot of solid relationships, you have to admit when you're making a mistake while still acknowledging when the other person makes a mistake. And I feel like that's really something that Kyoru does. Like, Kyo has pointed out in the past when Toru's being, like, too kind. He does point out when she's doing something kind of silly. Whereas Toru is also, like, stepping up to Kyo when he needs it, right? Like, telling him how she feels and all this stuff, especially by this point. But we still see them being sort of... the best way I can explain it is being sort of their season 1 selves, where, like, Kyo gets a little bit angsty by the end when he's like, by the way, that was our second kiss. But Toru also sort of trying to hide behind her smile, still relying on the persona that she took on to help Kyoko move on past the death of her father. It's still, like, you still see her trying to hide behind that smile. Toru still wants everyone to just be happy, even at the cost of her own heart. And that is so intense, and so... this show kills me with the Kyoru stuff. The Kyoru stuff always kills me. And it's like... this in particular was, like, such a big moment for me, because it was seeing Kyo, like, not only admit that he was selfish, but seeing Toru, like, allow herself to break down and cry in front of Kyo. And, like, not that she's, like, never cried in front of Kyo or anything, but, like, this was, like, her finally embracing her feelings and allowing herself to let Kyo be number one in her heart. Like, not to let Kyoko go, but to acknowledge that it's okay for Kyo to be her number one, and that it's okay to move forward, right? Like, we saw that a little bit last week. We see it again this week. And it's really, I think the emotions are really strong, it's really intense, and I think they absolutely nailed it. The fact that Kyo finally admits that he loves her, and that she says that I love you too, like, you know what I mean? Like, they finally say it to each other. I screamed. I was so happy. Like, I was so happy. Like, by this point, I was like, I was smiling, but I could feel the tears welling up, because it was, like, such an important moment, and they finally said it. Like, they finally said the words that they've always been meaning to say, and I assume so many of us must have felt the exact same way. I'm recording this, like, while looking at chat, and even chat's like, Kyoru, best part of the app, because it's true. Like, the Kyoru moment is so impactful, because we've spent the entire show building to the moment where they both say, I love you. Right? Like, we've gotten, like, little moments where they admit their feelings for each other, right? We've heard them say it. Like, we've heard them say these feelings before. But the thing is, we've never had them say it to each other and have it reciprocated. Like, this, to me, was, like, the reason why it's called Fruits Basket the Final isn't just because it's the final episode, it's because things are finally falling into place. Like, the fact that they finally say, I love you, they acknowledge their feelings, it meant everything to me in that moment. Like, I was over the friggin' moon, because I love this. Am I a shippy dude? Yes. But I feel like even if you're not, like, a heavy shipper, right? Like, even if you're not like me and you ship everything that moves, if characters blink in each other's directions, I just assume that they're gonna get together and it's gonna be great. But, like, it was like, it's I just thought it was absolutely wonderful. And I think even if you aren't like a big shipper like me, right? Because again, not only am I a big shipper, I like have like crack ships, so that like ships that just like don't make sense, you know, like, or it's like two characters who aren't even in the same scenes, you know. I just think that they'd be good together. I'm like that hardcore when it comes to shipping. I just try to hold it together. But with Kyoru, even if you're not like that, even if you're not a big shipper, even if you actively don't like shipping, I feel like everybody ships Kyoru. Like, everybody who watches the show just knows that Kyoru is love, Kyoru is life, and it's just friggin' beautiful. The fact that they get their first proper kiss, like although Kyo does point out, like, that was our second kiss, by the way, and Toru's like, huh? What did you do? Right? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, hopefully you remember this one. But like their first proper kiss, because I remember when the kiss happened, all of us, including me, were like, that's not how I wanted it to go, right? Like, that's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Their first proper kiss, they fully admit their feelings, and it's friggin' beautiful. And I couldn't be more happy. It's such a beautiful scene. And then that followed by Kyo just saying, like, can I hug you? And Toru's like, of course you can. Like, I love you, Kyo. Like, because he's like, even with this weird body of mine, like, is it okay for me to just, like, I know I won't be human when I do, but like, can I hug you? And she's like, of course, right? Like, because for Toru, it, like, that's when she tells him that I love you, right? Because for her, it's like, yeah, like, that's unconditional. And like, what I love is that, like, that love, when she says love is totally invincible, and I was like, that's beautiful. It reminded me of Doctor Who, and I said this during the reaction, but there's a line from the 12th Doctor where he says something akin to, hatred is always foolish and love is always wise. And to me, that's sort of the vibe it gave me, where Toru says, like, love is invincible, right? And it's like, love makes you feel invincible, you know? It really does. And that hug was like, oh damn, because they hug and you're waiting for the poof, and it never comes. And Kyo stays human the whole time. And that's when Kyo realizes, oh shit, like at the exact same time as the audience, oh shit, it's time to say goodbye. And this is where we get the goodbye section of the episode. And this is heavy, heavy stuff. So this is the big moment where the cast finally says goodbye, essentially, to their promise. Akito essentially just lets them go. You know, which is a big moment for her. Akito essentially just says, like, you know what, like, is it okay if I just let go? Like, is it okay if I just be me? If I'm not seen as some important figure, if I'm not seen as God, like, can I just be me? Even though, like, she knows that she's scared and she's struggling with that concept of being alone, she wants the chance to try. And I was like, holy shit. It's funny too, because I can think of all the Akito fans who are just like, I've been saying, right? Like, all the Akito fans, like the people who have read the manga who are like Akito fans, who have been trying to tell anime onlys like me, like, give her a second, right? Like, give her a second. And it's, to me, like, will I ever forgive, right? Chat and I were discussing this, like, is it ever possible to forgive Akito? And honestly, after everything, I don't know. That's going to be a decision that you got to come to on your own, right? In the same way the characters in universe will have to come to it on their own. But I feel like the characters in universe are making the same kind of decision that I would, and that's that while I probably won't forgive or forget, especially if I was Momiji, it'd be kind of hard to forget when you friggin' socked him clean across the face and made him bleed. But I don't think it's about forgiving and forgetting. I think it's about accepting and moving forward. Akito is trying to change, and I'd be willing to let her try. You know, like, I want to give her that chance to try. If I was in universe, right? Like, if I was one of the Somas, I'd be wanting and willing to let Akito try to make amends. It will likely take the rest of her life, but I would want to see her try. You know, I would want to see others give her the chance to try. And it seems like the show is also going in that direction where the Somas are kind of going to let Akito have that chance to try. And I really, really like that. I like that for her. I think that makes a lot of sense for her character and how she's progressed and everything. And seeing her and the others deal with these mixed emotions, this like... It was like, I think the one who showed it the most, like the strange mixture of emotions is probably Rin. Like Rin, like when she feels it snap and then immediately turns to Hatsuharu and he says like, it's a lot lonelier than you'd expect, isn't it? And they hug. And it's that moment where she's like, because Rin in particular has been fighting against the curse, or the promise, as we find out, but has been fighting against the curse for so long. So for it to snap, it was like it was finally over, so she was happy, but suddenly she felt that lonely feeling, that knowing that it's time to say goodbye, knowing that like it's the promise is over, and then feeling the weight of that goodbye, right? Like the horse spirit knowing that it's over, and Rin knowing that it's over. That, like, while sure Rin's happy, both her and the horse spirit itself are likely feeling the loss of that promise, and that's heavy. And it's interesting because that's kind of what saying goodbye is. You know, like saying goodbye is not easy for anybody, right? Like saying, like as an example, like if you the last time I remember I had to like say goodbyes, right, was when I was, because I never got the chance to say goodbye to my coworkers at my old retail store before I started doing this full time, because a little thing called the pandemic hit, so I didn't get to say goodbye. But the time before that was college, when I was leaving college, and it was this mix of emotions where like it was people that I didn't get like especially close to, but it still hurt, right? And I was happy to go because I wasn't enjoying my time at college, so I was happy to go, but it still felt sad. And that's the thing with goodbyes, is they're very tricky. You can be happy, but you're also sad because it's losing something, even if it's something that you didn't realize that you would miss. It still sucks. You know, like goodbyes are still hard and they're difficult. And I think Fruits Basket really nails how difficult it can be to say goodbye. Hell, like all of us are gonna have to say goodbye to each other at some point, like in the next 2 weeks. You know, like Fruits Basket is gonna be done. And as sad as it is, not everybody's going to stick around on this channel, you know, like not everybody's going to want to keep watching this channel. So a lot of familiar faces in the comments and in the Twitch chat, it's going to be time to say goodbye, and it's going to be sad, you know, like it's going to be hard to deal with that. But it's the fact that, like, you know, when the time comes, you have to face it, be brave, and do your best to kind of move forward. And I think that there's a lot of how do I word this? A lot of truth to the way that Fruits Basket handles their goodbyes this week, and I thought they really, really nailed it. And I think the biggest thing was the fact that even the original god, right, the god who made the promise with the Zodiac, even they gave their blessing to just move forward, and the cat's words came true. You know, Akito can actually smile in the sun with others. Maybe not right now, since we see that she's still, like, when they go to visit her, it's Hattori, Kyo, and Toru, and Akito only lets Toru in. She, like, just quickly grabs Toru and just pulls her in, and nobody else, right? She's still not there yet, but one day she might be. I hope before the show ends we see Akito smiling with all the other Zodiac, even though they're not shackled down to each other anymore. Maybe they can actually form some real bonds with Akito and see Akito smiling in the sun, you know? Like, that would be it, with the people not connected to the curse, you know, smiling with Toru and all the other people who are, like, in Uo and Teach and all of them, right? Like, all of those people who have been there as, like, outsiders to the curse, like seeing her be able to smile with these other humans, which is what the cat wanted, right? To smile in the sun with other people. And you seeing those come true, I think, is going to be a big emotional moment. I have a feeling that's gonna happen, right? But even with the original god, like, them telling like, at the end credits, just saying, like, you all held on to that promise for so long, even after it became more of a burden. And it was them just thanking everybody for trying and letting them go. You know, like even like everybody at this point knows that it's been too long, and that the cat was right? Like something's only beautiful because it ends, right? Flowers are pretty, but one thing that makes flowers beautiful is that they're not forever. You know, flowers wilt and they eventually die, right? And that's what makes it beautiful. The fact that it ends, you know? And the cat saying, like, I'm happy that we got to spend all this time together, and hopefully hopefully in another life, if we do, like, reincarnate and I find you again, hopefully we can laugh in the sun together. And God seeing what Akito's gone through, seeing the hand come down and reach out to Akito, that to me was like, it's okay. You can let go. I loved it. I thought this episode was absolutely brilliant. I'm still kind of emotional. I'm going to need some time to process. Especially knowing, like, there's only 2 episodes left. I'm going to be a mess when we do that final Fruits Basket podcast, because, yeah, I'm kind of dreading it. Because I'm going to cry a lot. But hey, that's what the show is trying to teach us. It's okay to cry. But with that said, everybody, that is going to wrap up today's video here, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snooch, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AniTube know that you're here. And of course, before we go, as always, I want to give a big, big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that Patreon link in the description. For just a single $1, you can see your name scrolling past the screen here, and it helps keep the lights on around here. Or you could check out that join button right beside the sub button, gets you a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. Either way, it is super, super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. That is it for me. I have a stream to get back to, so I'm going to go do that. You guys can hang out with us live over on Twitch. We're trying to make Twitch partner eventually, someday, but we need consistent viewers for that. So if you want to come hang out with me and watch me make these videos live, come check us out over on Twitch. I'd appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. So until then, bye!